Dear students, in this lecture, we will define what is convex subset of Hilbert space and will prove a result on it. First, let us define what is convex subset. Definition: a subset C of real or complex linear space is called convex if it satisfies the properties that alpha x plus beta y belongs to C whenever xy belongs to C and alpha x plus beta y and alpha and beta are numbers between 0 and 1 with alpha plus beta is equal to 1. So this is concept of convex subset of a linear space. We have a set C which is subset of some set and xy are 2 points. So convex set is often geometrically described as the set in which all points joining on line segments x and y lie on C itself if x and y are in C. So if points x and y are in space C, then all points joining on line segment x and y are in C itself. Okay. Let us prove the result. A closed convex subset of Hilbert space contains a unique vector of the smallest norm. Contains a unique vector of the smallest norm. So proof: let C be a vector, a closed and convex subset, of Hilbert space H. Let D equals to infimum of all norms in vector in space C. What we want to prove? We want to prove that there is a unique vector, there is a unique vector C, there is a unique vector X in C such that norm of x is equal to D. So we will divide the proof in two parts. First part is existence part. So first part is about existence of x. Existence part. Now, as D is infimum, by definition of infimum or GLB, if say G is GLB of the set S, then for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists a Y in set S such that Y is less than G plus epsilon. So, by using this property of infimum, in fact this is part of definition of infimum of subsets of real numbers, we can write by the definition of infimum, by the definition of infimum, there is, by the definition of infimum, there is with xn belongs to C, I could correct this statement, better I'll write for each n, for each positive integer n. So here we are taking epsilon to be 1 by n. For each positive integer n, there is xn belongs to C such that norm of xn is less than D plus 1 by n. Norm of xn is less than D plus 1 by n. So here Y is norm of xn. What is infimum or GLB in this case? It is D, and epsilon we are taking as 1 by n, where n is positive integer. Okay. So as 1 by n tends to infinity, as n tends to infinity, 1 by n tends to 0. So what we have, that norm xn converges to D as n tends to infinity. So we have this. This is our first statement, because 1 by n tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Now by parallelogram law, if, first of all let me write this, if xm and xn are in C, then 1 by 2 xm plus xn is also in C, as C is convex, So you can easily understand this. Here alpha and beta I am taking as 1 by 2. So if xm and xn are in C, then 1 by 2 xm plus xn is also in C. Okay. So with this understanding, and Noting the fact that D is infimum of all norms of all vectors in C, we could write norm of this vector, which vector this is what? It is greater equal to 1 by 2. I mean greater equal to D. So norm of vector xn plus xn by 2 is greater equal to D. This implies that if you simplify, you will get that fold D square on squaring norm xn plus xn square. So I am squaring both sides as these are non-negative real numbers, and this further implies if you multiply by -1, inequality gets reversed. So minus fold D square is greater equal to minus xn plus xn square. So this is our second statement. From first and second, we could write that no, I don't have to use first and second at this point. So I'll use first parallelogram law. So by parallelogram law, we have norm of xm plus xn square plus norm of xn minus xn square equals to 2 times norm of xm square plus 2 times norm of xn square. So this implies that norm of xm plus xn square, I'll keep this as it is, xn square. Now I'm going to shift the first term on right hand side. So this is equal to 2 times norm of xm square plus 2 times norm of xn square minus norm of xm plus xn square. So this is equal to, now this is clearly less equal to, norm of xm is less equal to D, is greater equal to, okay, no. So at this point let me keep as it is, 2xm square plus 2 times norm xn square, and this is now, this term is less equal to now minus fold D square. So it is minus fold D square, and since from first xn converges to D, norm of xn converges to D, then this will converge to D square. So we have from first, this converges to 2D square plus 2D square minus fold D square as n tends to infinity, or as m and n tends to infinity, and you may give the reason from first. Here we are using this statement, and here also you could give the reference. This is from second. Here we have used the fact that now xm plus xn square is less equal to minus norm xm plus xn square is less equal to minus fold D square. So this clearly equals to 0. So that is, this converges to 0 as m and n tends to infinity. So it follows that xn, this xm and xn are close to each other as m and n becomes large and large. So by the definition of Cauchy sequence, we can say that this is a Cauchy sequence in C. So xn is Cauchy sequence in C. But what is C? It is a closed subset. It is a closed subset of complete space H. Let me write this. Since C is closed subset, since C is closed subset of complete space H, it is complete of complete space H. Why H is complete? Because it is Hilbert space, so it is complete metric space. And closed subset of complete space is complete. We know the result from metric spaces that closed subset of complete space is complete. C is complete. C is complete. So Xn is convergent in C. That is important. The convergence happens in space C or subset C. Is convergent in C. Let Xn converges to X in C. Then it is clear that because norm of Xn converges to D, then it is clear that norm of X, since norm is continuous function, I could write it as norm of limit of Xn. Limit I could take outside because norm is continuous function. It is equal to limit n tends to infinity norm of Xn, and that equals to D from first. So the reason is this follows from first. So this completes the existence part of our theorem that norm X is equal to D. Now what is remained is uniqueness part of X. So that we are going to establish now. Uniqueness part of this. So uniqueness part okay. We have completed existence part. Norm of X is equal to this. In case it is not properly visible, better I would like to rewrite it. So let me rewrite it once again. Norm of X is equal to limit of norm of limit Xn, that equals to limit of norm of Xn, which equals to D from first. Okay. Now for uniqueness part, let X dash be a vector in C with norm of X dash is equal to D. We want to prove that X is equal to X dash. Suppose on contrary that X is not equal to X dash. x is not equal to x dash, then norm of x minus x dash is positive. Okay. By parallelogram law, we have norm of x plus x dash upon 2 square is equal to norm of, you just simplify this, you will get this, norm of x square by 2 plus norm of x dash square by 2 plus norm of x minus x dash square upon 2. I should say it is minus because on this side it is. So you make sure that you understand this. Is it clear? This is norm of complete space. Okay. But norm of x is d, norm of x dash is also d. So it is d and norm of x is also d. So if you simplify, this is equal to d square by 2 plus d square by 2 minus some quantity x minus x dash square by 2. Now this is strictly less than this quantity, which is d square, because this is negative. Why is it negative? Because this is positive. So if you multiply it by minus 1, it will be less than 0. So that's why it is strictly less than sum of these two, that is d square. Thus, what we proved? Thus, we proved that norm of x plus x dash upon 2 square is less than d square, that is norm of x plus x dash upon 2 is less than d. Since C is convex, since C is convex, since C is convex, since C is convex, x plus x dash belongs, x plus x dash upon 2 belongs to C, as both x and x dash are in C. Now, let me call this as third statement. So, third contradicts the definition of D. Third contradicts the fact that, what is definition of D? That D is infimum of norms of all vectors in C. Hence, our choice was wrong, our assumption was wrong, hence x must be equal to x dash. This completes the proof. And this completes the uniqueness part. Existence and uniqueness part we have completed. Thank you.